welcome back to the Hawkins Do Copy podcast. My name is Ran.
And my name is Emily, and in this podcast we talk about all things Stranger Things.
Happy Halloween!
It's actually Halloween, and we're recording this as well.
Actually, Halloween.
All the spookiness is there is no spookiness. Let's be absolutely honest. No spookiness here. Just tea and a podcast to record.
I am dressed as me in pajamas, but I tried to make a little bit of effort and I put a Baby Yoda blanket on me, which has a head that makes me look like a terrifying, massive Baby Yoda.
And I made no effort, and I just put a jumper over the jumpsuit that I'm wearing. So, two different people who do what side are you on?
It's a comfy Halloween. I feel like we have tea. We're going to answer some questions. I feel like that's all we want. That's all we need, really.
Yeah. So yeah, we asked you to ask us questions because we thought we'd do a bit of a Halloweeny Q&A kind of thing with no Halloween related question. Well, arguably there's a couple of Halloween related questions. Why not? Because I don't know, sometimes it's nice to just have a chilled episode. I mean, next week we've got Stranger Things Day. And
that's not going to be chill. That's going to be a chaotic mess.
Exactly. So will there be content? Will there not be content? Who knows? Before we actually get into this, though, that I think we can say, if anyone is following the person that does all the poster designs, Carl Lambert. I want to say it's Carl Lambert.
Yeah.
I think he's on Instagram and probably various platforms is at Kyle Lambert Artist. He actually posted on the Stranger Things 2 anniversary, right at the bottom there's like see on Stranger Things Day. So we may be getting a poster. I don't want to make
a poster.
Or it might be like we had, or it might be like what we had, was it on the season 3 year anniversary when he did that big thing, didn't he? All the pictures together. So it could be something like that again. I don't know, but it might be getting something from him anyway. So we might be able to analyze a picture.
That would be nice.
We'll see.
That'll be next week's content.
Yeah, exactly. Next week's
picture analysis. But today we're going to answer some questions that people sent in to us. You guys did all the work for us this week, so that's great.
Yeah, thank you. After begging on my personal Instagram, send us, we need content for an episode. But before we get into that, again, there are many places you can find us on Halloween and other days, you could argue. Those places are Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Amazon Music, and audible.com at Hawkins Do You Copy. And then you can find us on social media at Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Hawkins Podcast, and YouTube and Tumblr at Hawkins Do You Copy. There was no question of the week this week because you asked us questions. So maybe this is the question of the week, arguably.
All of these are the questions of the week.
Yeah, we got it in there somehow.
So the first question, this is actually one that I haven't thought about ever before, but I actually really liked this as a question, which is, what is the scariest Stranger Things episode in your opinion?
I really do not know, because my mind initially tries to go to season 2 and a couple of moments within that. But the more I think of it, I don't think they're necessarily scary. It's more creepy. And then season 3 is another one where I think, I don't know if I want to go to that either, because for me, it's not scary. It's just more gory. And
yeah, I'd say season 3 was quite gory. There was bits of season 3 that I had to look away from, but not because I was scared, but because it was just a bit gross.
Exactly. I don't do gore. So there were a few moments I was like, absolutely, that's a bit gaggy. But so I'm trying to think of anything in season 1 then maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking because my brain automatically wants to go to something which isn't monstery, that's which sounds odd, but my brain sort of goes more to like Brenner, the bit where Callie's like projection, where
Yeah.
Brenner is talking to Elle. I find that quite creepy. And sort of like an unsettling, scary more than anything. Which I think is sort of done quite well. I don't think there's like a particular episode. I think it's more moments of each season which make me feel a bit like, oh, that was, you know, like that bit with Brenner is quite unsettling. Yeah, I can't think of like one episode.
You know what? I'm going to go for actually the last episode of season 3, only because I wouldn't say it's scary, but there are a few moments that, I mean, it was really obvious that Hopper was actually alive, but I'm going to go for scary more in the aspect that there were a few moments where I thought, I don't know if you're going to make it out of this. And I think that's as near to scary as I'm going to get. Like, there was one moment, I'm sure it's in the episode, where I generally thought, is Mike dead? There was this real kind of moment where you just thought any of them are kind of expendable at this moment. So like I just remember thinking, okay, Steve's definitely going to die at this moment. Or that
I can't
Mike's
believe
definitely die at this
Steve
moment.
made out of season 3. I cannot believe Steve made out of season 3.
And then Hopper was an obvious one, but then it was more scary for, I guess, Joyce's reaction, even though her reaction gave away that he wasn't dead. Arguably, Elle had that close to death moment. I mean, it was she wasn't going to die, and it was obvious Billy was going to die instead. But there was just this real moment, I think, throughout the episode where you thought any single person in this could be gone. Like when Will's speaking to Joyce, I'm sure it's that episode, it might be the one before, and it's like, I'm not worried about me, I'm worried about you. You thought, okay, so she could be gone. So I think is that, otherwise I think, I agree with you, it's just sort of moments, like arguably that the first 5 or 8 minutes of episode 1 before you see the monster, you just know he's taken. It's not like hide behind my hand scary, but I guess things like that. It's tricky, but I'm going to go for the last episode of season 3 only because you kind of feared for everyone.
That moment with Max and Mike in season 3 is quite creepy, like in the sense of like, I forget that there's that whole chunk of time where they are like knocked out.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, what on earth is going on? And then the hospital with Nancy and Jonathan, that's quite like, because even though they've been flayed, it still looks like just people chasing Nancy and Jonathan until you get the actual like monster, which is sort of a little bit unsettling. And obviously the tension with the whole Jurassic Park scene, where it's like objects in the mirror look closer than they appear and stuff. Season 2, I think probably the creepiest bits in season 2 is like Will's possession, but Will's possession in the hospital when he's like, that's my friend Mike. That's like unnerving, because you're like, what is going on? But I think Stranger Things is sort of more comprised of moments, creepy moments, rather than like one set episode that really sticks out in my mind. I'm like, that whole episode was scary. I think it's more little moments that just make me think like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the thing with it as well, and this was something that was said in season 1, not by the characters, but like people's opinions on it, that it's one of those shows that it's always scarier before you see the monster, because it's completely in your mind. You think, I don't know what this looks like, but weirdly, the moment you saw the Demogorgon, even though it was that kind of thing of, oh, I don't like it, it then took away that fear almost, because it was like, I don't know what it is. And I think that's why arguably season 2 not does that better, but because it's so in Will's head, and that what the Mind Flayer looks like, but for the longest time it's like, how long has he actually been there? When is it Will? When is it someone else? And I think it takes it back to that you're not actually seeing the monster, so you're kind of imagining what's going on. Like, and I said that there's that moment, and I think it's been spoken about when Mike and Will were sitting on Will's bed, I think. And it's after he's just had that moment of like, what if he spies back? Or it's before, just before that, I think they're having the conversation and they look directly into the camera. And what I noticed is a few moments of that in season 2, actually, like when Will was talking to Joyce, that I feel like I'm just going like, Will does this, Will does that. But it's just, I only realized this because when I was trying to find a thumbnail for something I put on Instagram the other day, I was looking for Joyce moments. When Will's talking to Joyce, he's looking once again directly into the camera and telling all of this. It's almost like he's telling it, obviously he's telling it directly to you, but it's just that little bit of eye contact that shouldn't be there. Like it almost breaks the fourth wall. And I think for me, they're the scarier moments.
They are, because I think they're the unsettling.
Like, they shouldn't be looking at us, essentially.
No.
We're not there. We're
no.
It's like in theatre, it's like you've got the proscenium arch, nothing breaks. Nothing breaks that until it does. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm now taken out of it.
Yeah. And it makes it feel a lot more real to you. Like it makes you feel like you're involved with it, and that's what makes it scary. Like the Demogorgon doesn't scare me. I'm not scared of the Demogorgon. I don't fear the Demogorgon. It isn't a monster where I'm scared of it. It is more those moments where Will is possessed, Billy is possessed, where it just feels like these are people, but they're it is like kind of a bit like Uncanny Valley, I guess.
Yeah.
Like they're people, but they're acting peculiar. And then once, like I said, they kind of stare at you. It's like they're kind of staring into your soul a bit, and you're kind of like, I don't, because even when you see Kelly's like projection of Brenner, he's walking towards Elle, but you're seeing him from Elle's perspective. So it's almost like he's walking towards the viewer. And it's just a bit like, oh, okay, creepy. Like, please don't come near me. Like that unsettles me more, I think. And I think the Mind Flayer scares me more than the Demogorgon, but I feel like that's because the Mind Flayer, when the Mind Flayer is possessing people, scares me more because of the sort of power that it holds and then how creepy that feels. But also, Will talking directly at the camera ties into the Will is just telling a story / campaign theory.
Yeah, no. Next question. But no, that's my opinion. I would say the last episode of season 3 is scariest in my opinion, but
I agree.
Not the reason I don't think for that kind of thing. But I think there's like the moments, like I said, that Will kind of looking, or any of the characters really, when they look directly into the camera.
Yeah.
And it just breaks just a little bit. Like even the Brennan moment when he's walking, you can tell he's still looking at Elle.
Yeah.
But then there's moments, like as I said, when Michael and Will were talking, or Will's talking to Joyce, and it's just that focus just shifts.
Yeah.
That moment there for the YouTube. That it just feels wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah. Anyway, that's my answer. A very long-winded answer.
No, I think I agree with you on that one.
Okay, let's do a more fun style question this time. So who do you think, or who in the party do you think loves Halloween the most?
Max or Dustin?
I would go for Dustin. I don't know why I'd go for Dustin, but I would.
I feel like the rest of the party would do Halloween and then get to like, they get older and then they go to the Halloween parties that like Nancy and Steve are at, and it becomes kind of like just Halloween to have parties and stuff, which I think is cool and completely fair enough. But I feel like Dustin and Max have an appreciation for like horror. I don't know what, like, like Max is 13, 12
no, 13 in
13
season 2.
Wearing Michael Myers. And I'm just like, yes, like she clearly has that interest in the horror and that side of things. And I see that as something which continues way beyond the rest of the party wanting to like trick or treat. Like I can see both of them having kind of an appreciation for horror and horror movies, and like continuing kind of the Halloween thing more than just a party. Like I can totally see Dustin having like a horror movie marathon and stuff.
Yeah. I think Mike would take it too seriously. I think Mike would be like, Halloween is an operation, and this is how we're gonna do Halloween. I mean, like in that episode when he's like, you should have checked me. I know obviously it was because Max just come along, but I feel like he'd be like, no, this is how we're doing it. This has to be like that way. Like with the costumes, like I agree to be this person, you agree to be that person. He'd take it too seriously. I think Lucas is just there for fun, to be honest. Lucas is like, it's Halloween, we like trick-or-treating, we're gonna go and get some sweets.
He'll roll with it. Like Lucas will roll with whatever everyone else is doing on Halloween. So like as they get older, he'll roll with whatever's going on.
Yeah. Will likes Halloween, but Halloween is now ruined for Will. Because he spent the night being chased throughout the town by a monster. And not that Halloween hasn't been ruined for everyone else, but at least they all got something out of it. He really got possessed.
And then like, I also feel like for Will, it's one of those moments where he's trying to, like, he wants to hold on to his childhood as well. And I think it's going to be that the rest of the party are a little bit like not as trying to hold on as he is, because obviously he's lost so much. So I think that Halloween will be something which for him is never going to be the same again.
Yeah.
So I feel like that love sort of dwindles a little bit.
And then obviously Max, as you said, she's up on Halloween. But
Max
Dustin, like, he's created this whole contraption.
God, yeah, like he
loved all those photos, and obviously at the time he was 13, but I can see that continuing from him. I feel like
100%.
I feel like Dustin's going to do Halloween properly. Like if you want to be with anyone on Halloween, you want to go with Dustin. He's going to know all the best places to go. Same with Max. Stick with them. That's my opinion on them and Halloween.
I feel like they'll always put effort into costumes as well. Like their costumes will be like top tier costumes. I can just every year I feel like they just Speaking of Halloween, let's go with the question: who wins, Steve Harrington or Michael Myers?
I mean, I feel like let's not give Steve any credit, really. I mean, Steve has a nail bat. Well, Steve has Nancy's nail bat. But Steve has a habit of losing many, many fights.
He does.
I feel like Steve, to talking movie tropes, Steve is not the final girl.
No.
Like he absolutely is not the final girl. Steve is the weird middle ground kind of person. So I think he's losing the fight, personally. That's what I'm thinking.
I feel like he'd give it a really good go though. Like I feel like it would be a fight. Like I don't feel like he'd go down just like that. I don't think Michael Myers would be able to just completely get him. I feel like Steve would fight. Like and also it depends on what version of Michael Myers we're going for. Are we going for like child Michael Myers? I know child Michael Myers was also like the serial killer, but like what version of Michael Myers are we going for? Are we just going for like standard Michael Myers? At which point
more standard.
Yeah, at which point I feel like Steve probably wouldn't stand much. But I feel like he'd really go for it. I feel like it would be Michael Myers with his little knife.
Yeah.
And Steve with the bat. And I feel like it would be a fight. Like it wouldn't be a immediate win for Michael Myers. I feel like Steve
it would be a win.
It would be. I feel like it would be a win, but I feel like Steve would. He'd get a few hits in. Michael Myers would not be walking away unscathed.
No, also bold you suggest that it was going to be child Michael Myers.
But like, there's different variations. But there's different variations. Are we going with like first Halloween Michael Myers? At which point, like in the start of the film, he's a kid. Like he's still a serial killer, but he's a child.
I don't think we should say that Steve Harrington is going to be hurting child Michael Myers. Like it's
I
a
mean,
Halloween
Child Michael
episode,
Myers.
but we're not going dark. So
look, if we're gonna be talking about horror film debates, I need to know all the facts.
okay.
What are we going for? But
Well,
standard Michael
child.
Myers.
It's not the child. It's the standard one.
Standard Michael Myers. Then no, I feel to be fair, I don't even know if Steve would win against child Michael Myers because he killed a bunch of adults.
So no, basically, Steve Harrington is not coming out this alive. He'll give it his best. He might
would give it his best.
One of the party in that.
He might, because I feel like the thing with Michael Myers is he's not the one I'm scared of the most. Like I quite like a slasher. I quite like a slasher film. I quite like a horror film. And he doesn't freak me out the most. Like Freddy Krueger is the one that always used to freak me out the most because I didn't like the dream situation.
That was on TV the other day, actually.
Yeah, I like
Dream
the
Warriors was on TV.
Was it?
Well, yes, it was, because they were talking about it on Gogglebox.
He used to like freak me out when I was like a preteen, and I watched them with my friends way younger than the actual movie rating. And I used to get really scared in my dream, and I'd hear the creepy little song. But Michael Myers, I think the thing with him is he just kind of like seems to show up. Like the bit where they look out of the window and he's just stood in the washing, like on the washing line, he's just like stood there. Like I think he's weirdly kind of there. And I think Steve would not take it seriously, but he'd be a bit like, who are you? Like he wouldn't, I feel like Steve would just be Steve, and he wouldn't be expecting Michael Myers to go all Michael Myers on him. And I feel like that would be the thing. I feel like Steve wouldn't. Yeah.
I have an additional question to go off of that one. Who in the party is the stereotypical final girl?
Max or Will? Oh, no. See, I don't. Dustin, but I don't. The thing that makes me not want to say Dustin is because he trusted Dart.
Yeah.
Mike dies first.
See, I'm mixed on Mike, because my initial thoughts was, Mike is gone first. But then I'm kind of like, is he? Because I feel like Mike is smart. That's his thing.
Mike
is smart. And I think Mike would be able to figure out a way out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, he would absolutely not pick up anything to help himself. Like they'll be like, pick up weapons. He'll pick up, I don't know, a pen or something like that. But I think, he would, I think he'd give it a good go.
I think it would also depend on who we're talking. Like, which, are we talking like supernatural horror final person? Like, are we talking slasher final girl? Are we talking like, and when, if so, like, who are they fighting? Is it Jason? Is it Freddy? Is it Michael? Or are we going all the way?
We're just going general. General.
See, I feel like Lucas is quite good with the kind of like combat side of things.
Yeah.
So I feel like he could stand a chance in the idea of like an actual fight.
But would Lucas be a sacrifice one? So he'd get close to the end.
Yeah, and then
be like, you go, I'll stand my ground and help.
I can see that, and I can also see Elle doing that.
Yeah.
I feel like Elle would totally be a sacrifice one.
Yeah.
I feel like Max would do quite well. Because she's quite logical. Like, she's her smarts are different to the way Mike is smart. But I also feel like she's quite like street smart and would know kind of how to navigate certain things. So I feel like Max would stand quite a good chance.
Yeah, I can see that actually. I think, yeah, I can see Max. I will give Mike a little bit of credit because I feel like he'd be a surprise.
Yeah,
I'm always mixed on Will. I never know. I feel like
me
he'd get
too.
close. Like when we talked about the Hunger Games thing, I feel like Will would win,
Hmm.
but it would be by not doing much. I think that's what we said, that
Yeah,
he'd figure out other ways to get out of there. Where I feel like, I know we said Mike wouldn't survive the Hunger Games. I still stand by that. He absolutely
but
would not
that's
survive the
because
Hunger Games.
Mike could have a higher chance of surviving the Hunger Games if the cornucopia wasn't a thing.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
because that's a thing, he's not going to survive the cornucopia.
No, but being the last in a horror film, I can
Different
see that.
rules.
Yeah, but it also depends though, because if you've got Elle there, between Mike and Elle is the final girl.
Oh yeah,
Because
but
Mike would then put the position we said for Lucas, where he'd be like, no, I think Elle would try, but Mike would be like, no.
yeah, I just feel like Elle is much more likely to say about sacrificing compared to Mike. Like if you think about season 1, she's
Mm.
the one that does the sacrifice.
Mm.
So I feel like, yeah,
Mike's the final girl.
Mike's
the
girl,
final
Mike
girl.
Wheeler.
There we go.
Yeah, I would say Michael Max.
Yeah, Michael Max. Yeah, Dustin's the stereotypical smart one in it that can be like, I know the way, I can hack my way in this.
He gets close.
Yeah.
He gets really close.
He's in like the final 3, not final 4.
I can see that. That's a good question.
Thank you. I thought of it myself, obviously.
Okay, so we spoke about this briefly at the start, but someone wanted to know, what are our expectations for Stranger Things Day?
I would like the poster that it seems like we're guessing. Starters. I would like 004 so that we don't look silly for being like 004 is coming out on Stranger Things Day.
I would love 004. I'd also love some episode titles, please.
I think if we're going to get an episode title, we'll get the second episode. I don't know if we will get all of them. I feel like they would do like that. For me, it just makes me think there will be a spoiler somewhere in the episodes that they don't want to give, especially if we've got like the Creoles and stuff. I feel like, and it seems like there's a new enemy that's been deep rooted, or a horror that's been there the entire time. Would not be surprised if one of the titles was what that horror is. Falling in line with the Mind Flayer, the gate, all of those kind of things. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. See, I was kind of jumping then at my like wishes, not my actual expectations. My wishes would be, I just completely like misread the thing. My wishes would be episode titles. My expectations are most likely the poster, because there's been talk about it, and probably 004. I would be really surprised, not just because we've been theorizing about 004, but because I genuinely think it works out like timings wise. And then I think that if we do get the poster, it will have a release date on it, and then the next trailer after this will be, so 004 we'll get, and then the next trailer after that will be the proper trailer, and that will also have the release date on the end of it. Even if like the poster says March, April, May 2022, even if it's not like a set date, but it just gives a month, that would be really good, please.
that would be nice. I would like to see the buyers. That would be my one wish now. The buyers and Mike, actually provide them now, please. That'd be great. We've seen a lot of everyone back in Hawkins, so let's go somewhere else. Please, preferably do that in 004. Show us where they are, and then the speculation of where they are can actually be spoken about on here, because that would be really, really great.
I hate it because you say speculation. It's not speculation. We know where they are, but we just can't talk about it. It's not even
Yeah.
speculation. We know where they've moved to, but we just can't talk about it. I'm gonna say that
I'd
for
like
this
to-
episode. We know.
I'd like to say it's not just us that knows.
No,
It
everyone
is
like
public knowledge on the internet.
You can
Because we've
easily
decided,
find.
we've just
where they-
decided to go with a rule to not talk about it until it is confirmed as a thing. So let's give us that. Let's give us where the buyers are, please.
So we can officially talk about our thoughts about where they've gone. And it's not just me and Emily on FaceTime calculating the distance between said place and Indiana.
I still don't understand. Anyway.
If you guys want to know, it's so easy to Google. Like, you would find it straight away.
Let's be honest, they already know.
Everyone knows. Everyone knows. But if you don't know where they've moved to, Google it. Like, you'll find
There's
it.
Pictures out there.
Literally.
Loads of pictures out there.
We are chaotic this Halloween. That's everyone's treat. That's your trick or treat. Your treat is that there is information on where the buyers have moved to online. Have fun.
No, I would like to see that. I'd like to see the buyers. I'd like to see Will. I would like the confirmation of the location where they have moved. And to be honest, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that's what 004 is going to have in it.
No, I don't. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, because it's the only, presuming all of them are parts of the plots that are going to be in season 4. It's a very, very major plot that we have not seen yet, including characters, some of which are very major, that apart from a tiny, tiny snippet of her being held by the arms
with a fringe,
fabulous fringe, that we have not seen them. So it makes sense to me.
I would like that makes it 004 being the buyers, and that makes sense.
I mean, Stranger Things Day last year wasn't that bad. We got Polaroids. We did. Gayton running down with like a Hellfire Club cape. So something along the lines of last year, actually, I think would be quite nice.
I would also quite like confirmation of whether or not Dustin is the only party member in the Hellfire Club.
Should we move on to the next question?
Let's move on to the next question.
Okay, so the next question, flowing in nicely, thoughts on Finn's interview?
Living for it.
I have not heard the interview. It was an Amazon Music interview with Matt on the Matt Wilkinson show. So I haven't, as I said, I haven't heard it. I've just read little parts of it. If he is telling the truth, and it is not just what they say every year about it's scary and it's dark and it is better than ever, please. Yeah. I really want this. Something that has been added, which they haven't said the last few years on the seasons, was that the season is truly messed up. Well, actually, no, to quote directly, this season is like truly messed up and it's going to freak people out a lot. Please. Give it to me.
I genuinely want to be terrified. Like, I want season 4 to genuinely scare me. And I feel like the thing that really gives me like hope with that is Robert Englund, because he does that well. Like, I feel like his character is not going to be as evil. Like, there's going to be reasons behind why what he's done, and it's not going to be that he's an awful person. But I don't think so anyway. I feel like he's going to have been like possessed or something. But I feel like he does that so well, and any scenes with him are going to be done really well. And I also feel like, based on the scenes that we've seen in like the little teasers and stuff, that there will be things in it that aren't just like scary in the sense of like boo scary, but like really unsettling. scary. I feel like it is going to be messed up.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see how they're going to make it so messed up. Like, I feel like we're not going to end season 4 with any like happiness. I feel like we're going to end season 4 just so miserable because everyone's going to be miserable.
Yeah. See, the thing that is giving me hope isn't Robert England. It's the fact that as soon as I saw the season 4 announcement, my mind immediately went, this reminds me of season 2.
Yes.
I want it. So, which probably isn't the best thing to be thinking, because it means that my expectations for season 4 are way too high than they should be.
Mine is so high.
So I don't know, I think from the teaser we got, even that first season 4 announcement, which came very early, and I feel like, looking back on what I said about that before, being like, we got this so quick, it must be already in production, is like a really horrible coincidence, because obviously COVID then happened like a couple of months after. So basically I should not have said anything, but I just feel like, I don't know, just the vibes of it, and then obviously the upside down again, which we didn't really see in season 3 apart from a tiny bit when you saw like the Billy clones and all that kind of thing. Basically I really hope it is just I don't necessarily want jump scares. I hope that by messed up and freaking people out, it isn't going to be things in your face jumping. I don't do well with jump scares. I want it to be that kind of psychologically weird, and just something is that kind of like uncanny valley-ish vibes, that kind of thing. That's what I would like.
That scares me more.
Yeah,
because a jump scare, I hate being made jump anyway. I hate being made jump, but like that is sort of like you're made jump and then it's creepy, but then it sort of like passes, I guess. Whereas psychological scare and horror, that like is in your head, like that like stays, and I feel like that's more creepy. Like that would creep me out. It's like I said about Freddy Krueger, like that always hit the idea that I would go to sleep and he would be there, and that lack of control, it was more psychologically creepy compared to like Michael Myers just being stood there kind of thing, you know, like it makes you jump when Michael Myers just appears, but once that's happened, he's gone, and I'm like, okay, fine, kind of thing. Whereas the idea of like being unable to control something psychologically and it playing on your mind psychologically, in my opinion, that's a better done horror than just a jump scare that then passes, if you get me. And I feel like Matt and Ross Duffer actually have the potential to create that psychological horror quite well. So give me that. Thin Ad says, the Duffer Brothers are doing things that people haven't seen before in the show, which is really frustrating. No, that's the wrong word. Which is really refreshing, because if the show has been going for as long as it has, you want people to still care. Agreed.
And I think that's what does make it good, that every season is something different. So I really do hope that kind of carries on. He also does assure, for all the Mike fans out there that are worried, because apparently there was a lot of people, that he is in season 4 and will be in a teaser or a trailer very soon. So he's alive. It's all good.
He is in season 4. He is just
he's
somewhere that we cannot talk about yet.
So overall, I'm excited.
Me too.
Finn said, I think what people have noticed as well is that it's been consistent where everyone has been kind of saying, it's dark, it's this, it's that. But then
I think Joe Keery did too.
I mean, they do every year, so like every season there was like, it's dark, it's scary. But I think Gayton said something similar-ish to Finn recently as well, but he said the dark scary thing, but he worded it in a slightly different way that doesn't sound like this is the only things you're allowed to say. And Noah said something recently as well, actually.
It not that they don't sound excited for previous seasons, but the way that they've talked about this makes it seem like even they, as the people making it, have had a refresh of excitement. And that's really nice to see, like to see them be like, we are genuinely like, not that, like I said, not that they weren't excited before, but to see them be like, we can't wait to see this because like it is messed up. It's something which makes me have a lot of hope as well, and I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, because I think what's probably helped as well by the fact that they have got older over well, probably shut down like a lot of them. Obviously, Caleb, Sadie, and Gayton, I think as they were starting to film, they were 18 anyway. So in terms of film, theatre, whatever it is, they're then counted as adult actors, which means they can then do slightly different content from the kid actors or child actors, for example. So obviously you don't need a chaperone or anything like that anymore. So you can work the longer hours. Your material can be slightly more intense. So for a lot of them, it's probably been a good experience in that sense, because it's really allowed them to kind of go, yeah, you know what, we can really get into this acting wise now.
Yeah.
Obviously Millie and Noah are a slightly tricky position because they would still count. And I don't know if Millie would have. No, she would have, but she would have been slightly different but Noah would have been 16 at the time of filming season 4, so he would have probably been a bit more controlled, which he can and can't do. But there's probably, I mean, I don't quite know how it works in America. I only know how it works in the UK. So maybe there are slightly different rules out there surrounding it. But in general, as soon as you reach a certain point, you can then do, you can do more complicated material. So I imagine, as I was saying, for them, it's probably been like actually, this is really cool because now we can do the stuff that, say, like Joe, Natalia, Charlie, and all of those could do now. And it's just, so as I said earlier, I said that Noah had said a few things recently as well. He said it with People magazine. Said he had a blast filming the season, describes it as unexpected, romantic, exhilarating. It was a great group of people. I bonded with everyone a lot. I had a good time. I think the season's going to be the best one yet. It's something to be excited about. Every season we have different storylines, different people that I get to work with. This season it was the most unexpected. There were certain people I never worked with before. It was just really opened my eyes and I had such a good time doing it. So
that's really interesting. I hadn't heard that.
No, this came out just this is titled. This is dated the 29th of October. So people, their opinions on it this year just seem to be so much more like, I've really loved filming.
Who's he not worked with?
Millie.
Millie. It is Millie.
Arguably,
no, it
Charlie,
is Millie.
He actually really worked with Charlie? Not a lot. Really.
Well, before we recorded this, I watched on the Netflix Geeked TikTok, Noah did a live stream where he watched episode 1 of season 1 and he hates Jonathan. So he literally is watching Jonathan cry about Will being missing and it's just like, get over yourself, you're a bad brother. Which just was the best. Just his reaction was incredible. So yeah, maybe he's kind of thinking, I haven't worked with him anymore. I haven't worked with him really. I'm gonna this season got to work with Jonathan.
Because I think about it, even when he did, it was like for one scene, and then it was like he didn't have a brother, or arguably in season 3, or a mum. He just didn't really have anyone.
He was just like, Will.
He was just Will. I mean, none of them really had families in season 4 or arguably season 2. So I think, it is interesting. As I said, that they're all kind of, I know this was about Finn's interview, but I feel like it's nice bringing those because I think, the cast have been a bit more open about what they're saying this year about it, I think.
Yeah.
Is that to build anticipation because it's been a while? Probably. But they just seem to really have enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
So
it feels really cool. It definitely feels, like I said, not that they were not excited about the other seasons, but it just feels genuinely like they've had this big refresh, and I wonder if like the break was like a big refresh. But yeah, everybody seems really excited, and you can kind of feel the excitement through the interviews, and that makes me feel really excited. Like it does build that anticipation. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, because also as well, if you think about it, when the Duffers are filming, they'll usually have 3-4 episodes written, and then they will then write as they're filming. But obviously that didn't happen this time, so they were actually able to write the season before. So maybe, as you said, having that break has really kind of made them think, you know what? Yeah, because Natalia said something very similar when they'd started refilming. She was like, having this break has actually really, really helped the show. It was something along those lines. So yeah, maybe that's what should happen. Not COVID all the time, please. No more lockdowns.
no more COVID. But I feel like we joke about kind of the break and there not being content, and you know, like we do say about it, and obviously it is frustrating, and I'm sure that they are also very frustrated, because to be honest, they probably should have been filming another season. If another season is coming, they probably should have been on that by now. And I'm sure, you know, they are really frustrated, but I do trust the Duffer Brothers that there's a reason why, like, it is next year. And I do kind of trust the process. I'm really excited for season 4. And sort of people's interviews and stuff are getting me more excited. And yeah, at the end of the live stream, Noah said, look out for Stranger Things Day. So I'm actually excited for Stranger Things Day for once. I just hope I don't get let down.
You will. Anyway, next question.
Final question. This is our final question. And it's our favourite theory.
I mean, you said your favourite theory last week, wasn't it? Jonathan is Hopper's dad.
My favourite crackpot theory. It's not my favourite like theory.
I really don't know. I mean, I still like the idea that Will is the mind flayer, and I will stick with that until I am proven completely wrong, probably in 6 months or so. Oh no, 8 months. Let's go 8 months plus. I will be proven very, very wrong. But I think it would be cool. I just like that idea. That's what that would be. I've spoken about it too much on here.
No, I really like that theory. I think that it really sort of ties into the idea that it's been there all along, and obviously like kind of like you say about the cycle and stuff, did he have to go missing to kind of kickstart everything? I definitely think that him and Elle are more connected than we think they are. I definitely think there's something there. I've really kind of latched onto the theory that it's something to do with Hawkins, like specifically. And obviously we do know that lots of stuff is going on in Hawkins, and I don't completely think it's the theory that the whole of Hawkins is under MK Ultra control, but I do really like the idea that it's something to do with the town, and the reason why the town like doesn't exist in the real world is because the town was blown off the map because of something that happened. So I think that's my favorite, the idea that the town is involved somehow, and there's you know, because I guess that ties into it's been there all along, like it's just a small town America. It's kind of unassuming. You don't really think much happens in a small town. You know, the worst that's happened is that an owl laid a nest in Eleanor Gillespie's head. So
someone actually sent us a comment on Instagram with a link to a theory, which I haven't clicked on yet because it wouldn't let me copy it on my phone. So I'll have to open it on my Mac or something. That they think Hopper has a curse and Joyce is connected to it that way, which I think that would be quite cool. I can see. Let me see if it'll let me do it.
I can definitely see something like that, because do you know how when they started filming Harry Potter, you know, not to bring J.K. Rowling up, but she pulled Alan Rickman aside, didn't she? And she said to him, this is Snape's story. Like, she told him everything before anyone else knew anything, before she'd even finished writing the books. He knew everything, didn't he? Because his character played such a pivotal part in lots of different parts of everyone's lives. And I feel like David Harbour is the Alan Rickman of the Stranger Things universe. I feel like David Harbour.
He said he knows how it ends, hasn't he?
Yeah, and it's like, why?
Does Millie know as well?
I don't know. I feel like David knows more. I feel like David knows everything, and I'm like, but why? And then like to think that, you know, Hopper is quite involved with everything, and obviously now him being in Russia, like I wonder if that is sort of a quite close to the mark theory, in that he is involved somehow, and that's why he knows, because the Duffer Brothers have told him, which affects how he then plays his role because of what's going to happen later. And I know that I was going to say, I know it was turned into a joke. You know, it was turned into a big joke that I don't know anything about season 5. There's no season 5. But that was just completely to cover his tracks, because he said that there was going to be a season 5. And I think he always sort of seems to know the next step before anyone else. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is because Hopper is involved with something.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe Hopper is the main character in this massive D&D campaign that is Stranger Things.
Maybe Hopper is actually an evil, like maybe he's like a monster.
So, you know, I just think that maybe it's playing out his life.
Maybe
something happened to him and it's playing out his life. And then he had a really tragic life and then got sent to Russia. Who knows? Maybe it's all a massive metaphor for something.
Genuinely, it wouldn't surprise me. Of
him
all the
not being able
characters,
to deal with Sarah's death, so he's creating a space in his mind.
It wouldn't surprise me if Hopper was involved more. Any theories with like Hopper and stuff, I quite like. But I do quite like the idea that there's something with the town. I don't think Hawkins is going to be there by the end of season 5. If there's a season 5, because David Harbour knows nothing about season 5. But David Harbour definitely knows there's going to be a season 5.
They are our questions on this Halloween kind of thing. It's because I like answering question episodes. I think
I like it.
It's like a nice change of things, a bit of coffee and contemplation, or tea and contemplation, as it was today. You can always send us more things. We like reading comments. We like reading DMs, anything like that. I actually will mention, because I meant to mention it last time, we got sent a message on the Dreamscape video about how people aren't focusing on character angles, camera angles, and that kind of thing. And I thought it was a really interesting message actually that was sent to us. So we do love reading all of those kind of things.
Even questions make me think of things which I wouldn't necessarily have. So honestly, like, send us all the messages about all the things.
Just send us content, basically, is what we're saying.
Do our jobs for us.
Thank you. But you're probably wondering, where can you do our jobs for us? And there are many places that you can message us do that. But to hear us do our jobs, you can hear us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Amazon Music, and audible.com at Hawkins Do You Copy. And then you can message us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Hawkins Podcast. And then on YouTube and Tumblr at Hawkins Do You Copy.
Thank you guys for listening to our Halloween episode of the Hawkins Do You Copy podcast. And we will see you next week for Stranger Things Day. Over and out.
Hawkins, do you copy?